the salty air hung heavy over the small coastal town of Oakhaven. The cries of gulls and the rhythmic crash of waves provided a constant soundtrack to life there. Elias, a weathered fisherman with eyes as blue as the deep ocean, knew these sounds well. They were as familiar to him as his own heartbeat. He had spent his life braving the unpredictable moods of the sea, his hands calloused, his face tanned and etched with the passage of time. Elias's small cottage stood perched on a cliff overlooking the harbor. Its windows, like his own eyes, gazed out at the endless expanse of water. He could see his fishing boat, the Seafarer, bobbing gently in the distance. It was a sturdy vessel, a testament to years of hard work and a partnership forged in the crucible of the sea. Elias had always felt most at peace on the water. The sea was his sanctuary, his confidant. It was a place where he could escape the noise and distractions of life on land. Out there, surrounded by the immensity of the ocean, he felt small yet strangely connected to something much larger than himself. Each day as the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Elias would make his way down to the harbor. He would greet his fellow fishermen, their faces weathered and etched with the same stories of the sea that his own held. But Elias carried a deep sorrow within him, a sorrow that the vastness of the ocean could not wash away. 5 years ago, the love of his life, Clara, had passed away. Her laughter, once the brightest sound in his world, had been silenced, leaving behind an emptiness that echoed through his days. Clara had been his anchor, his compass, his guiding star. Her love had been a beacon, guiding him safely home through the darkest of storms. They had shared a love as deep and enduring as the ocean itself. Every sunrise, every sunset, every grain of sand on the beach held a memory of their time together. Now, Elias felt adrift, lost in a sea of grief. The vibrant colors of life had faded, leaving behind a dull ache in his heart. He still went through the motions of living, but the joy had gone out of it. The sea, once his solace, now reflected his pain. Its vastness only served to remind him of the immensity of his loss. The rhythmic crashing of the waves sounded like a mournful dirge. One morning, after a particularly fierce storm, Elias went for his daily walk along the shore. The beach was littered with seaweed and driftwood, remnants of the ocean's fury. As he rounded a bend, his eyes fell upon something half buried in the sand. It was a wooden chest, its surface weathered and scarred by time and salt water. Curiosity piqued, Elias knelt down and pried it open. Inside, nestled amongst faded velvet, lay a collection of trinkets, a seashell, a piece of coral, a tarnished silver locket. His breath caught in his throat. He recognized the locket instantly. It was Clara's. He gently picked it up, his fingers trembling slightly. As he opened it, a wave of grief and longing washed over him. Inside was a miniature portrait of Clara, her eyes sparkling with life, her smile radiant. That night Elias couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, the locket clutched in his hand, Clara's smiling face illuminated by the moonlight streaming through his window. He knew what he had to do. The next morning Elias set about creating a memorial for Clara. He chose a spot on a rocky outcrop overlooking the sea, their favorite place to watch the sunset together. He carefully placed the wooden chest on a flat rock, surrounding it with smooth stones he had collected from the beach. Every day, Elias would visit the memorial. He would sit there for hours talking to Clara, sharing his thoughts, his fears, his hopes. He told her about his day, the fish he had caught, the people he had encountered. The memorial became his sanctuary, a place where he could feel close to Clara again. It was a tangible reminder of their love, a love that death could not extinguish. As the months turned into years, Oakhaven began to change. The once bustling harbor, teeming with fishing boats and the laughter of fishermen, grew quiet. The catch dwindled, and one by one the fishermen moved on, seeking more bountiful waters. The town, like Elias's heart, seemed to be slowly fading away. The vibrant colors of life had drained away, leaving behind a pale imitation of its former self. The laughter of children playing in the streets was replaced by an unsettling silence. Elias watched these changes with a growing sense of unease. He saw the town's decline as a reflection of his own emotional state. He too felt adrift, lost in a sea of grief and loneliness. The world around him seemed to be mirroring his inner turmoil. One night, a fierce storm raged along the coast. The wind howled like a banshee, and the waves crashed against the shore with relentless fury. Elias sat in his cottage, his heart heavy with a premonition of something he couldn't quite grasp. Driven by a force he couldn't explain, Elias made his way down to the harbor. He untied the seafarer from its moorings and set sail, heading straight into the teeth of the storm. The wind tore at his clothes and the rain lashed against his face, but he pressed on, his eyes fixed on the raging sea ahead. As the storm reached its crescendo, a monstrous wave slammed into the seafarer, tossing it about like a toy boat. Elias clung to the helm, his old heart pounding in his chest. He knew this was the end, and then, as the seafarer capsized, plunging him into the icy depths, Elias felt a sense of peace wash over him. He closed his eyes, and in that moment, he felt Clara's presence beside him. Her hand reached out and clasped his, and together they sank beneath the waves, their love story forever entwined with the sea. The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving behind calm waters and clear skies. The people of Oakhaven emerged from their homes, their faces etched with worry. When they saw that the seafarer was missing, a collective gasp went through the crowd. They searched for Elias, but their efforts proved futile. The sea, as if guarding its secrets, refused to give him up. And so, the people of Oakhaven mourned the loss of their beloved fisherman, a gentle soul who had always been there for them. And as the years passed, the legend of Elias and Clara lived on. It was said that on stormy nights, when the wind howled and the waves crashed against the shore, one could hear the faint sound of a ship's bell, a haunting melody carried on the wind. The waves whispered their love story, a testament to a love that transcended death, a love as boundless and enduring as the ocean itself.